Welcome to Duke Energy. Today we're going to give you a demonstration on what we call our hotline trailer. My name's Red Flowers. Been with the company 31 years. Work out at the Land Operations Center. We have a lot of first responders here, and we're going to show you some methods that we hope will help you in the field to not become a victim yourself. This trailer is a demonstration of several things. We'll start off with 120 volts and give you an idea of what happens when a fuse blows that causes a power outage. We'll have a scenario of digging a hole in your backyard, for example, putting in a fence, of when you dig into an underground power cable. And we'll also up it to 7200 volts, which is our primary voltage, and give you an idea of what happens when you have a live line down on a car or somebody trying to get cut a tree limb down with an aluminum saw. We got several different pieces of equipment we're going to run through, and I'll try to explain to you what each piece of equipment does as we go along. It just so happens today we got a snake that we're going to show you. Jake the snake. Here we go. Now, and your buddy will come running down the street, hey man, that transformer just blew down there. The transformer blew. Well, typically it's not a transformer. If you look and see that arm he's going to take down is actually a fuse holder. 99% of the time it is a fuse that blew instead of the transformer, actual transformer itself. So, although the transformers do blow, another thing we typically run into is your neighbor putting in a new fence. Golly, this happens so much you wouldn't believe it. Neighbors are putting in a new fence and he digs into your power cable. And that's an actual shovel that has been through it. We'll give you a simulation here on the stage that they're gonna take that wire he's dealing with right there and a hot stick and show you what happens when you do dig into it. And again, ready? There, you got that one. Now your power's out again. So you got to get on there and call a technician. He'll come out and we'll either put you in a new underground cable or we will repair that one. Up there on the top of the stage, it looks like to some of you, I'm sure, there's 3 transformers. Actually, there's 2 transformers, one on each end. The one in the middle with a 4H25 on it is called a reclosing device. That's a pretty cool tool. When you heat that thing, when that thing senses a fault downstream of it, it will open up, close, open up, close, open up, close, and it's designed to try to burn a tree limb or an animal, whatever may have got on it, in the clear. Everybody here, I'm sure, has been sitting at home during a storm and have your lights go dim, bright, dim, bright, dim, and you go, wow, what's happening there? Power surge. It's actually not a power surge. It's the reclosing device working. And after it operates 3 times and the lights go out and stay out, then it's time to order a pizza because we're going to have to call a technician to come out. We're going to give you an idea. You get to watch this counter work on the side of it, and you'll get to see that arm right there flip open when it's done. Coming hot? There it is. That's when your lights go out and stay out. So that's the one that's responsible for the bright, the lights doing that little deal. Right now we're gonna let these guys flop this around. We've been doing 120 volts on the trailer. We're gonna up the ante to around 7,000 to 7,500 volts and start having some fun. It's going to take just a minute to do a little switching around. We will, after we're done here, I'll open it up for some questions, and hopefully I'll have the answers for you. But give them just a moment here. All right, now we just switched over to extremely high voltage. Coming hot. Okay, we're setting on 4,500 volts. Coming hot, J-Dub. They're testing right now to make sure that the trailer didn't inadvertently come hot.
7.3.
How much? 7,300 now. All right. Okay, now we can have some fun. Well, which one of you guys is going to fly a kite today? You've always heard that don't fly your kite around the power lines, right? Well, we're going to give this one here a little shot and see what happens. He's going to put the kite up into the high voltage line, which is the very top line, and see if we can burn that line in half. All right. Coming hot? Nope.
You're on arc, but it'll burn it.
I could hear it buzzing. All right. Well, we heard, I don't know if y'all could hear that or not, but it was snapping and cracking up there. It's another thing that we do right here is he's going to pull that switch open. Y'all see this light? We're going to replace that fuse with a kite string and feed this light. You'll get an idea of how kite string can conduct electricity. I'm going to let him turn the light on and turn it off. All right, there it is. There's your light. Take it off. Put it on. There you go. Gives you an idea about a kite string. So, kite string, and another thing, all you guys that, and ladies and gentlemen that fish, they got a fishing line out. It's called a spider wire. Everybody's in love with it. Don't cast it up into that top wire. You know what I mean? There's it's not good. It's not good to have that. So the Mylar balloons. Man, let me tell you, that stuff right there. I gotta see what y'all got going. The Gator fans is gonna use a Knowles balloon. So this one here don't make a whole lot of noise, so you don't have to cover your ears on it. But he's gonna, again, light the light up using the Mylar balloon. You ready? Let's do it. Ooh. Well, goes to show the Seminole balloon couldn't even light that light up. And anyway, our favorite part of this is what we're getting ready to do now. We all know that trees cause probably 90%, 80% of our outages. So Leo is going to show you what happens when a tree limb scrubs by a high voltage line. Now this is where you need to get your cameras ready. Just don't make any noise, but just a little buzz. Keep your eyes up on top of that brush right there. Trailer's hot. And that's a good high voltage arc, and that's the sound that we typically don't like to hear. Another tool here, we've kind of got a makeshift aluminum ladder. You know, have you ever had anybody tell you can go up and cut that power line? You can just cut one leg at a time, and yeah, ain't no problem. Yeah. Just cut one at a time and you're good to go, right? Do not listen to them people, whatever you do. Here's another good example of what happens whenever you're dealing with an aluminum ladder around a power line. Trailer's hot. Pretty nasty, very nasty voltage. And we have a simulation for the pool dip net, or the pool brush that we always get after stuff on the roof with. You know, when the kids throw stuff up on the roof, you go get the pool thing and get it off. It ain't no different than the limb or the ladder, let me tell you. Trailer's hot. Man, pretty nasty stuff right there. I don't know why I like that so much, but next thing we want to show you is we're going to have a down power line that the guy across the street says, hey man, that line's down across my driveway right there, and tries to get the fire department to go over and kick it out of the way. He says it's dead. It's been laying there for 30 minutes. It ain't done nothing. Show you what happens when a live power line's laying on the ground and what it looks like and sounds like. Leo has a digital voltmeter on the end of that stick, that red thing. So if you're wondering what that is, it reads the voltage just by touching it. It's a high voltage voltmeter. And we ready? There it is. There's 7,300 volts on that cable. Now take your meter off of it. Look at that. All right, now there's that cable laying there. It's not making a sound. Only thing you know is with that voltmeter. If you've got a power line laying on the ground, folks, and you pull up there to it, the general public lately has figured out that a jack door open, that the line's dead. A lot of people look up and say, hey man, that switch, that jack door thing's blue. Well, a lot of times there'll be 3 of those jacks on a pole, and only one of them will be blown, or maybe 2 of them. The other one stays hot, and you got a power line down. We run into a situation called backfeed. Backfeed is deadly. That's exactly what we're doing here on this trailer, is we're backfeeding this trailer to make it work so y'all can see how this comes about. If you've got a line laying on the ground, please don't touch it. Let us come. We'll take care of it, because there's some scenarios that we run through that line likely might not be dead laying there. So, and here's what happens whenever a lot of guys decide they're going to come grab it and kick it out of the way. All you got to do is disturb it. It's like a bunch of wasps. Hot? And we don't want that. We definitely don't want that. Another thing we deal with that kills a lot of our lights, turns them off, is car versus a pole. Man, we get that. I don't understand how people can hit power poles so many times. But as a first responder, the fire department goes out there, and they got a, in this case we'll say a dump truck, but we got a car sitting there with a lady in it and a kid in the car seat and a power line laying on top of the car. Well, you think, well, naturally the line's down, so it ought to be dead. You know, no big deal. Here's what it looks like when it's hot. Right now, that truck is energized, 7,300 volts, waiting on you to go open the door to get her out. Show them what happens, JW, when you open the door. So, you know, pretty bad business. So, one of the next things that we, this is kind of our favorite part of it right here, the old fireman boot. Take a fireman's boot, them things are tough, and we actually got some pretty tough boots too now. We're kind of getting caught up with y'all a little bit, but you take a fireman's boot, and the guy's running, you know, a big fire's going on, most of us are running away from it, and you pass them, they're going in it. Well, look what happens here whenever they run inside of a burning building and step on a power line. Hot? Good boot. Real good boot. Let's try that other one and see how good it is. Got away with that one. Coming hot? I wouldn't want to be that that guy wearing that boot right there. To give you an idea of what happened is, look in the bottom of this boot right here. See that nail sticking in it? That's all it takes. Just that one little nail sticking in the bottom of the boot. That thing stinks too. Man. You know, you take pretty much like a hot dog or a piece of sausage, and it's maybe not exactly, but it's pretty close to what I guess the human body would be made of. It's got a lot of fluid in it and a lot of, you know, some meat, a little bit of fat, and all that stuff. So we're gonna give you a simulation right here of one of these linemen decided he's not gonna wear his rubber gloves today and reach up and touch that power line. Everybody watching that hot dog? Pretty gnarly. There it is. And it's hot too. I can just barely hold on to it right there. And, you know, remember in the first part of when we got started here, I was showing you the rubber billow, how to test the gloves. We've had guys, or there's been guys throughout the whole country, not just with Duke Energy, but with any other company out there that haven't tested their gloves properly. I'm going to show you a good example right here of what happens whenever that glove is not tested. Inside that glove, there's a hot dog that's kind of like a thumb. And he's going to go up there and touch that high voltage line. We'll see if what goes on here. Y'all act like you're scared of it a little bit, right? Coming hot. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Boy, that thing stinks too. Whew. Look at that. See the smoke coming out of it? Hey, that pretty much wraps up our part of the show right there. We can open it up for some questions if anybody has any. I know you guys inside earlier got to take a look at this this sheet of all the different types of cabinets and transfer devices and all that we have. So if feel free to ask any questions. I may refer some of them over to the guys here, but I think we can pretty much answer your questions. Yes, sir.
The glove testing, how often should you do that?
We do it before every job. In other words, if we go up and work a job, it takes an hour, and we go to the next 5 miles down the road to get started, we'll test them before we go up again.
For us, like, we don't use it all the time, but we do have them. They're just laying there in the truck, in the bag and all that. When you think it's good to check those?
Yeah, well, we actually have ours, we change ours out every 30 days. They're dated. Now, if you look on the cuffs of them up there, they got a date mark on them. We change them out every 30 days, and we test them before every job. One thing I don't think I told you about is, you notice it's got a little red cuff on the end of it. That actually is for when the guys are wearing the rubber gloves and you're up there working. That's a warning to let you know if you're working on the power line, it's an overreach warning. The glove comes to your elbow. That lets you know that you're about to get outside of that warning area. You can pull back some. So you don't want to, overreach your gloves. Bad deal. That's what the red's for when you see them out there working. Where can you get it?
Yeah.
Good question. I think you can order that through J. Harlan Corporation. J. Harlan or what's the other one?
Far West.
Far West. You can go online and get them, but J. Harlan's typically where we get most of our stuff from. It's called an air billow. What? Yes, sir?
Some of them work with heavy equipment as close to the transmission distribution lines. Now, you don't have to be right up into them to get them to arc, do you?
No, sir. You sure don't. And in fact, on some of our transmission structures, you can pull an arc from as far as 20 foot away.
So what would be a safe working distance to stay away from before we need to?
I would stay completely outside the right of way until you call us. Call us, and we'll come out there. And
Could we work around? We got high reach equipment.
do you? Well, here's what we.
50 foot, 100 foot.
Okay, here's what we do. If we got a piece of equipment that's up in the air, a piece of high reach equipment, and at any given time, if that equipment can fall and get into that power line, we're within our minimum approach distance plus 26 inches. So
Okay.
you need to, in other words, if you're setting a pole and you got a truck holding the pole and you got a 40-foot pole on the end of the truck, you got to, you add another 40 foot to it. So there is definitely some issues with working that close to power lines, especially our transmission structures.
And if we're going to, then we call you and you can come in.
Absolutely, we'll send a person out there to give you an idea of what you need to do, and or if we need to switch the line out or kill it or whatever. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How about trimming trees with a power pruner? Not that high voltage stuff, but like residential lines. How far should we stay away from the line?
Completely away from it. Yeah, just, in other words, you wouldn't want to be able to hit it with your power pruner. Stay far enough away from it that if you reached out to touch the line, you still had another 5, 6, 8 foot past it. So just stay clear of it. Call us. We'll send a truck out there, and if it's something we can do that needs to be done, we'll take care of it for you. We do a lot of private tree crews, to your point. We have private tree crews around that'll call us. We'll come in there with our tree crews, and we will trim to get it in the clear of the high voltage lines, do it all just to get it away for you, and then let you have it from there. We do quite a bit of that.
As far as the equipment goes, heavy equipment goes, we've burned down many of our loaders, our track backhoes. Once they get the power line, they're burning things to the ground.
Yeah.
If you're in a piece of equipment, let's say an excavator, steel tracks or rubber tracks, making a difference, you hit that thing, it's still going to get you?
No, sir. No, you can sit there just like those people in that little truck. Remember when we energized it just a minute ago? Typically what it'll do, it'll start smoking around the tracks, or you can sit right there in that piece of equipment and you'll be fine for the moment. If you have to get out of it, jump completely in the clear as far as you can jump with both feet. Don't step off of it like this. Don't step off and leave one foot there. Jump in the clear and go.
Ignore your normal safety exit and jump.
When you jump, land both feet, and then you go to exit,
You need-
shuffle your feet.
Yeah, nice.
Like this, because when you get into it's called step potential.
So don't pick them up.
No, you want to shuffle. You want to
Well,
the
I'm
same
Skip 'em right
contact.
along.
This leg will be the same. This leg here will be the same potential. So you want to shuffle. If you do one of these, this foot and this foot will be a different potential when you land, because electricity cycles, right?
Right.
So you want to stay like this. You want to shuffle.
Okay. Good.
That's only if you're in imminent danger. The vehicle's catching fire.
Best position to be in is not even have to do that. Oh. Any more questions?
Red,
Yes, sir.
I think you touched on it briefly. Can you mention if they come into a neighborhood and it's dark and all the power's out, but they hear motors running like generators?
Generators, boy, I'll tell you. Going in, yeah, especially during a storm, everybody now, including myself, I got a generator, but everybody's got them now. So power's out several hours, they'll fire up a generator, plug the refrigerator, freezer up to it. I'm sure almost all y'all have them as well. Occasionally we'll have somebody hook one up wrong, and it sends backfeed down the line. And backfeed is exactly what we work this trailer off of today. And you can see the devastation on the other end of it. We've had several cases before where we close our lines in during a hurricane. People have had generators running, and we end up meeting them in the middle, and we win every time. Right where the generator's plugged up, that's where the fight starts, when we close our lines in, and we always win. That's where the fire starts, and it usually burns the structure down. Yes, sir?
As long as you get the breaker off in the house, the main breaker to the house, you're okay.
Yes, sir. That's exactly right. Turn the main breaker off, and nothing can get outside. Anytime you hook your generator up, that's a good rule of thumb. If you hook it up, no matter how you're doing it, just turn your main breaker off. Can't go wrong.
How many volts goes in, what it comes out, and whatever it goes back up?
On the backfeed?
On backfeed.
Yeah, it's on the backfeed. See, we were putting 120 volts in that transformer, and we were getting 7,200, 72.5 out of it. So you put 72 in the top side of the transformer, and we get 120 out and feed your house. That's kind of how that works. So generators usually will put 120 in it at the house, and when it gets out there on the street, we got another 7,200 volts laying there.
What's y'all's, there's a storm, whatever it passes, what do you guys get out? What's your highest wind speed you're going to get out working at?
30 mile an hour, 35, 30, 35. Yeah. We do a lot of ice, these guys and myself included, we travel on hurricanes. We've been, just about you name it, we've been there. We do a lot of ice storms, floods, natural disasters. We go. We go to all of them. We've seen some pretty bad stuff through the years. But more questions?
All right. I want to thank everybody.
Thank you.
The team.
Thank you.
We hope that you enjoyed today, that you learned something. Here, again, we are constantly getting better ourselves. If you have feedback, things that you'd like us to consider in future presentations, ideas, please feel free to share it with Trisha's here now. Wave, Trisha, I tried to interview.
Hey,
That's
Trisha.
my fear. But thank you all for coming, and you're welcome to come up and visit with the guys. If you
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
any
If you got any more questions, come up. We're not doing nothing. We're going to be here for a couple hours.